Okay, it's 12:01. Here we go. Uh, if it's your first time, just a quick reminder, 15 minutes of positivity. The idea behind this group is Monday through Friday, we're just going to carve out about 15 minutes. I try to stick pretty close to that schedule just to make sure that we stimulate those parts of our brain that uh, have been shown through, both the personal experience, but then also there's a fair amount of research in this domain that says, yeah, if you keep stimulating, the parts of your brain that feel gratitude and attention, mindfulness, so on, that really helps. So today's theme that I was thinking about is this is Eugene Lipov. He's a physician who what I really like about what he's brought to the table is is a relabeling of PTSD. So I'll explain in a second here. So he says misrepresenting a problem as a massive problem in and of itself. Call an injury what it is, and you can address it and heal it properly. So when it comes to PTSD, which I'm guessing many, if not most of us, have some form of, especially when it comes to developmental trauma, right? So most of us, I don't think, come out of childhood unscathed in any way, right? And there are varying degrees of this, meaning um, some of us experience, you know, physical injuries, emotional injuries. Others experience neglect. The point being that our nervous system develops and is in this hyperplastic state, especially when we're young. So infancy, toddlerhood, teenage years is really when so much of our neurology develops, the structure and function of our brain gets formed. That yeah, many of us just don't know what it's necessarily like to have what's it like to be in a healthy relationship or um, a respectful exchange with others. What's it like to experience anger and know what to do with it? Like who teaches us this, right? So I love this image, which was a really cool sculpture up at Burning Man, and you have these two adults clearly at odds with each other, frustrated, hurt, maybe angry, and really inside you have these two little kids, these little toddlers just wanting to connect. And I think that's true for most of us, if not all of us on this call. And so Lipov, what I appreciate about him is he's put on the table this idea of saying, let's not call it post-traumatic stress disorder, but let's call it post-traumatic stress injury. Right? Disorder implies this pathology, like there's something wrong with us, or that, having grown up in a certain environment that includes all of these adverse childhood experiences, that it's somehow the idea that we would call those disorders, or that there's something wrong with us that we would be experiencing what we're experiencing, just doesn't seem appropriate or fair, right? So many of us, I think, have experienced some of the things that are on the screen right now, and if we can embrace them as or meet them as injuries that happened rather than disorders, then changes the it changes how we relate to them. That's my goal today. So let's start by closing our eyes and just drop into the here and now. Noticing we all have bodies that are sensing, feeling. We have brains that are thinking. And if we can focus our attention on just experiencing what is happening in this moment, we can just bear witness to it. And it allows us to notice that we are actually not the authors of any of it. So all of the thoughts, all of the imagery that's passing through our mind right now, we're not creating this, it's happening to us. So sadness, frustration, anxiety, depression, this is happening to us. It's like the weather, it's just happening. Sometimes the sun shines, sometimes it rains. We have no control over it, and yet we are affected by it. But knowing the difference is incredibly liberating. And one way into that experience is the body. So notice how the body feels right now, starting with your feet, your legs, your pelvis. There's all kinds of sensation there to bear witness to. And then the belly and your chest, your shoulders. Taking a moment to slow down and just notice, what's it like to bear witness to sensations and feelings and emotions that are just happening. And then noticing you have a head that has a brain, and that brain is constantly spinning stories, images, ideas, beliefs. And see if you can just take a step back and notice it all happening. And also bear witness to the fact and acknowledge that many of the stories and the sensations and the experiences are the result of what we've experienced in the past. Our whole frame of reference, our narrative about ourself, life, what it is to be human, is the result of these past experiences that we had. And being able and willing to acknowledge that is a kind of reparenting. There's an opportunity for us to step in and realize that our anxiety, our sadness, whatever it is that we're struggling with, the kind of conditioned reaction that we learned many, many years ago. An attempt to keep ourselves safe. And while we acknowledge that, the question is this still an appropriate way for me to be? Is it still helpful for me to use those tools that I learned long ago as a little being? Is that still serving me right now? I don't believe our anxiety or depression or compulsions are disorders. I think they're injuries, and they're ways that our younger versions of ourselves tried to cope with experiences that were stressful and scary. What would it mean to meet those young parts of ourselves with compassion and kindness and understanding, not pathologize, label them as disorders, but rather to say, I see you, I love you, we can do things differently now. I think what it means to heal is for our adult present self to meet those young, injured, hurt, scared parts of ourselves with understanding and compassion. The cool thing is, if we cultivate that ability to just be and slow down like we're doing right now, we can pretty much handle anything that comes our way. Take a deep breath in through the nose, long, slow exhale through the mouth, relaxing your shoulders and your belly, the hands. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on back to the session. Um, yeah, just hopefully today's session is a reminder that if you're feeling any sense of brokenness or, whatever, like, a narrative that says, oh, there's something wrong with me, so you can close your eyes, just connect with the body and the breath, and just remind yourself that that's a young, probably a young part of you that's just trying to keep you safe. and meet it with compassion. Hope that was helpful.